actually turned out to end up being line 93. It's no longer named line 3. And we witnessed the worst scenario here in Minnesota with hydraulic directional drilling. There was many frackouts. 28 was the last count, and 2 of them were actually unreported. Several frackouts at the Mississippi River that were not reported. And we have that all documented. And also aquifer breaches. So there was one aquifer breach in Clearbrook that took a year to remedy. They say they have fixed it, but we're keeping an eye on that. And then there was 2 other areas, where the aquifer was breached, which have not been disclosed. So yeah, it is real. And one thing I have learned through this whole process, not that we figured that people would listen necessarily, but we tried our hardest. And what we found was it was complete collusion and corporate capture. So I want to pass that on as we move into supporting our relatives in line 5. And make sure that you're aware of that right from the get-go. We were always told to follow the process. Let's get ahead of the process. And I want to pass on the speaker to our next Edith. I don't think she may be here. I think she had an emergency. So let's pass that on to our next speaker.
Okay.
So it looks like our next speaker is Philomena. I will ask her to unmute.
Hello.
Yeah. Hello. I'm also going to share the map of the proposed expansion, if that is all right while you speak, Philomena.
Yeah, that's quite fine.
Let me.
I just jumped on. I got kind of lost in my emails there for a minute. So Buji Indinuya Maniduk, Babi Wash, Indigenous Cosma, Quendo de Mashkizibing Donjaba. So I'm from Bad River. And I didn't grow up here. I grew up in Minneapolis, but I came home in about 10 years ago in 2011 because my community was experiencing an existential threat in the form of what would have been the largest open pit iron mine in the United States, just south of our reservation in the same area, kind of along that gold line that we're seeing right now where it says Gopibic Range. And so that's when I came home, and I've been home in Bad River ever since. I don't call myself a water protector because I don't know, I don't really relate to that term, but I suppose I am. I'm certainly somebody who has a very close affinity for manoomin. I started harvesting manoomin in earnest about within the last 5 years. And, I learn a lot from the plant. It's this very, it has this very like kind and gentle and giving spirit, but it's also really strong too. And if you think about the life cycle of the manoomin plant, every year it germinates. And so every year it pulls its whole body out from the water, against the force of all those water molecules trying to hold the plant down. It forces its body out of the water and opens up its face to the sunshine. And its face, those seeds, the good seeds are those that we harvest. And as an Anishinaabe, we believe that not only, is this it's a plant, it's a food, but it's also like those manoomin seeds are endowed with a spirit, and they have a spirit, and they are alive, and they are, they're like synonymous to, other kind of spiritual foods that people have in their religions. We can actually pray with these in our hand, the seeds of the manoomin plant. So, Bad River is my reservation. My homeland is the entire ceded territories. Our ceded territories are millions of acres of land that my people exercised Indigenous governance over prior to the signing of the treaties. And so this whole land and all these areas, and the the animal beings and the plant beings and the water beings that occupy these lands are relatives, and they cannot necessarily speak the way that you and I speak, but they have so much power, and it's very important that we speak for them in order to protect them. So again, Bad River is my home. I live off the reservation, but I've been working in the community for the past 10 years. As you can see, there's many different river bodies that come together at the reservation, and our watershed is relatively small if you compare it to a watershed like the Mississippi River. But all the waters that are within this bowl that's basically created by that gold line. And I think these are the various different routes. So that gold line is basically the bowl of our watershed, and all those waters flow north. So all the waters that are coming off of each one of these lines, the blue line and the red line and the gold line, for the most part, they all flow into the Bad River and into the Bad River Reservation. So when we're looking at these proposals, and we're looking at the geography and the hydrology, it's like we have, if there are, I think there are more than 150 water crossings for this proposed oil pipeline. It's like having 150 cannons pointed towards our homeland, our heart. Everything that we have as a people, for the most part, is within our reservation. All of our infrastructure, our tribal buildings, our water systems, all of our tribal housing is contained within this area. And so what this proposal is doing is it's putting, again, all these very important things, our whole tribal economy, our spiritual center, our powwow grounds, our social center, our gathering place. This is our whole nation is put at risk by this pipeline project. And it's not simply the risk of a catastrophic spill. I agree with the statement that the individual made in the video, that when he said that it's not a matter of if a pipeline spill occurs, it's when. But that is not the only issue. The drilling, the drilling into the bedrock is an issue. The invasive species that are going to come with a new corridor is an issue. The clearing of another corridor, making our Mayenga and our wolves more vulnerable to predation by illegal poachers, is another issue. The fact that we will be, in the Iron County areas, the pipeline is going through largely, like this proposed pipeline is going through largely public lands upon which we have retained the right to exercise our treaties. And these areas are forested swamplands that will never, ever be remediated, because the pipeline will corridor will have to be maintained, and that means keeping the trees, the forested swamp areas away from, from growing. So there will no, all those forested areas will be gone. And in many of those areas, the plants that are growing include rare and endangered species, and species that are threatened by current conditions, including our black ash, which is a plant that is incredibly important for our culture, for our basket makers. We have a basket maker who makes her entire living on black ash, and the black ash in those swamps will be cleared out by this project if the permits are authorized. I could go on and on about the problems. I mean, this represents an existential threat to our community, because all of our tribal lands are within the gaze of a pipeline spill. And there was a very important reason for the tribe to sue Enbridge in court for civil trespass for going through our reservation. Currently, the pipeline bisects our reservation, and that was because of the existential threat that this very old, past its deadline and its life cycle pipeline, currently operating, currently pushing hundreds of thousands of gallons of crude oil through a reservation every day. There was a reason that we wanted it removed. And, and frankly, moving it just outside of our reservation is just as bad, even if it's a newer pipeline, because we know that even new pipelines fail. And there's no guarantee that because it's new infrastructure, it's not going to fail. The stakeholders, the shareholders of Enbridge are not located within the Bad River Reservation, which is where this pipeline would be impacting. The people who are most impacted by this project are my people. And my people are not the shareholders, and they're not one and the same. And this company has shown a blatant disrespect for communities, not only Indigenous communities, but other communities as well. And I'm also very concerned about the drilling into aquifers that could prove catastrophic to our non-native neighbors who are depending on those aquifers for the wells that provide water to their homes. We have a lot of people who are living on the very edge of life economically. They are living paycheck to paycheck, and they cannot afford losing all of their water and having to drill a new well when their home is probably their only asset. So if the water no longer works in their well, if it's polluted, if it's contaminated, if it gets dried up because this horizontal drilling has depleted their aquifer, has punctured and depleted their aquifer, these people are completely out of luck. There are no, there's no safety net for them. And, so water is life, and water is the basis of our economy, especially in the Great Lakes region. We cannot function without water, and we cannot live with our water and our lands being polluted. So I really appreciate everybody who has taken the time to come together today. I'm asking you from the bottom of your heart to please do what you can, submit comments, and and stand in solidarity with the Bad River community. Miigwech.
So I'm going to share that link to share comments as Philomena described. Thank you so much, Philomena. Cheryl, if you want to, I don't know if you want to explain or say anything. It looks like you put something in the chat.
Yeah, I think because of, the timing being different and the importance of hearing the speakers, I'm going to suggest that we go ahead with our speakers, and everyone now has the actions that we want to do together, and they're very important. But why don't we go ahead and make sure everyone, these honored speakers, have a chance to say what they came here to say.
right.
So let's see who would be next.
Jannan, I'm so sorry if I mispronounced your name also. Cornstalk, Jannan Cornstalk from Paddle Out, Pipe Out. I'll
Yes,
ask
she
her to
is
unmute.
here. Yeah, she's here.
All right, I just asked her to unmute.
Honey, bonjour, Jannan Cornstalk. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. I just had to
Okay.
unmute someone because there was an echo. So thank you so
Okay.
much.
All right. Ani bonjour, Jannan Cornstalk, Dishkaz, Wakanak Singh, Odawa, Cass Corridor in Donjaba, Michigan, in Dodom, Sin, Michigan, Quay. I am a citizen of the Little Traverse Bay Band of Odawa Indians, and we are located here on the Little Traverse Bay in Michigan. This is Michigan, and I am up here, and this is where my community is. So Michigan, we carry our map with us everywhere. I want to, first of all, thank the creator for this opportunity to share and to speak on behalf of the water and our sacred food that floats on the water. It's my understanding that this manoomin is part of our creation story and our and part of our stories. And I want to excuse myself for speaking in front of my elders, if there's any elders here on this call. I know that this manoomin is part of our lifeways, and that's why it is so important to us. In the state of Michigan here, we have the 12 tribes have all signed resolutions against Enbridge Line 5. And many of you know that Line 6B spilled years ago, and that was like one of the largest oil spills in the United States. And many of the tribes here are doing wild rice restoration within their tribal communities. And we are making efforts to make manoomin to be the state plant here in Michigan. And I know that anything that is man-made, that it will break. So, you know, when with Enbridge right now, they're trying to build a tunnel under the Straits of Mackinac. And when I first started the Pipe Out panel protest, I was asked with my friend Vicki Kelly to go to an event there in the Straits. And that's when I found out about that there was a pipeline under the Straits of Mackinac. There in the Straits of Mackinac, if that pipeline was to break, it's a sovereignty issue for us because we are tribal fishing communities. So that would devastate that area economically, environmentally. Right now, Enbridge is kind of like doing double time to try to get the powers that be to approve the tunnel, and they're saying that it's safe. That would, and that pipeline, it is basically a shortcut through the state of Michigan from Canada to Canada down by Detroit. So very, very little of the fuel that passes through the state of Michigan actually benefits the citizens of Michigan. So all of these propaganda that they put out there that people won't be able to have their propane in the UP, I don't understand how, if you have a pipeline that goes through the Straits and the UP is up here, how are they not getting their propane if the oil is flowing down through the state and then to Canada? It's all just propaganda. I want to encourage everybody to encourage our youth to engage in all these doings that we're doing on behalf of manoomin and our land and our water and all these beings that depend on these sacred waters. And I view the water as my relative. So as the director of the Water is Life Festival, I try to engage youth and have them come and to share in the importance of water. And like I said, it's like we have a Wild Rice Coalition here. My friend Roger Lebin is very active in that. Barb Barton, Nat Spur from the Huron Band Potawatomi, they're all advocating and working and trying to pass bills through our state legislator to be able to have this food that flows on the water so that it would be a state plant and thereby it would be protected. So I just want to encourage everyone. There is, through one of our ally organizations, Oil and Water Don't Mix, they are having a petition that we're sending to the White House to encourage President Biden to support Governor Whitmer in having this Enbridge Line 5 shut down. So, and I don't know if Cheryl, if you could share that link in the chat. That's something that we can actively do, is to sign that petition. And I don't know what the current deadline is, but I think there's over 3,000 signatures right now. So it is pretty active and people are taking notice. So Labor Day weekend, I don't know if my friend Brandy Lee will be once again doing the pipe out paddle flotilla, but I encourage people to come here with their G-Mons, with their kayaks, and to come and support that. We do that the same day as the Waters Life Festival. They generally do it between 8 and 12 a.m. because the waters there can be contentious after 12 o'clock. That water, it changes. The flow goes from left to right, left to right to left. So it can be contentious. So for safety reasons, in the past, I've done it between 8 and 12. So I would, look for Facebook posts, things like that, and see if they're going to do that, the flotilla again. But, and then after that, we do the Waters Life Festival, and we do address a lot of water issues, and we have art in the park and things like that, just to bring the awareness for. And last year we did have a manoomin panel with Nat Spur and Courtney Kalia and Roger Lebin to bring the awareness to the manoomin. And if there's anything that I can do, to use my voice and to speak and to actively participate in the pipe out paddle flotilla, I will do that. Yeah, it's really important. And I pray every day to the Creator for these types of things, for protection, for the people like yourselves that are doing the work, and for that sacred sea, so that we will have it for our future generations. It's but like I said, it's very, very important to engage and to bring our youth into the fold and to have them stand beside us as we do these things. I'm not going to be here forever. And, I really encourage the youth to come and to join us and to carry on and to take this baton and to further for the protection of our water and for this manoomin. So I am available on Facebook, and if there's anything that I could do to help anybody to further this call, or to shut down line 3 and line 5. Line 5 has not gotten the okay from the Army Corps of Engineers, and it's my understanding from Whitney Gravel in some messenger messages that they still have to go through the process of getting the permit from the Army Corps of Engineers. And so the 12 tribes in Michigan are still fighting and still supporting the shutdown of that pipeline and for that tunnel not to be built. Also, we're going to be doing a learn-in with Enbridge and the state police, and it's related to missing and murdered Indigenous women. When Enbridge says that they are going to be providing jobs, I don't think that anybody from my zip code or 49770, even Mackinac, will benefit from that. They will bring union workers from other areas to come and to do the work. This is not a big union area. And there's been other, construction projects in the area where union workers have come from downstate. So from that, there could be man camps, or the men working at those jobs will be staying in area motels. And generally, they will come and they will stay during the week. And economically, they will take their dollars back to their communities and, to their homes and their families. They don't even provide economic input into the area where they're staying. So that's another consideration. But yeah, my friend Shirley Johns is going to be doing a learn-in about the man camps and to bring awareness to people in this area. That's another aspect of this tunnel being built. So yeah, just look on Facebook. There's lots of information on there about meetings that they're doing. And Oil and Water Don't Mix is on the internet and on Facebook as well. And so Cheryl, I don't know if you could please share that link so that people could help and sign that petition. So like I said, if there's anything that I could do to help anybody, through my prayers or, coming to different events like this, I'm more than happy to do that. And I'm honored to be with you and to share my voice. And thank you for asking me to be here on this Zoom. You can go ahead.
Thank you so much. I'm gonna just see if Cheryl wants to say anything, but our next speaker is Jill. And we have been sharing some things in the chat as well. So there are some links to the things that we've been talking about.
Just if you have that second map that shows how the line moves from across the Northern Territory. And we'll hear from Jill, badass Grandma Ferguson. Woo! You're on mute, babe. Hold on. We need to unmute you. Hold on.
How about now?
Yeah.
We can hear you. Okay, I'm sharing that map. All right, can everyone see the map?
Yeah.
Can you see the map, Jill? All right, take it away.
So first of all, I want to thank Gabe so much for the honor of being in his film. It was an unexpected honor, and I appreciate you. And Cheryl, you as well, and Paul, and of course, Don. So I want to encourage everybody. I'm here as the elder white old lady. And so my perspective on this whole thing is going to be to address people and make people realize this isn't an Indigenous issue. This isn't a Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan issue. This is a global issue. You're seeing right here on this map, this is the Great Lakes. This represents 20% of global fresh water and 90% of the fresh water for the United States. And so that affects everybody. You don't have to be in any of these states to take a stand on it and take an action. And I encourage everybody to do all of them that Cheryl is going to be posting. One of the things I also like to say is when Enbridge says there is a spill or there's a leak, or if and when you do hear it on the news, and that lingo, leak and spill, makes me absolutely crazy. It's a flood of oil, an inundation of oil, a deluge of oil. I've seen them. I've been out in California when there was a spill of 500 million gallons of oil that actually closed 125 miles of the coastline. And so these aren't spills and leaks. I always like to say a spill is when my grandson spills a glass of milk, and a leak is when I pull my car in the garage and I go, oh shit, what's that dripping underneath my car? That's not what we're talking about here. And when we're talking about the fresh water, fresh water is not a renewable resource. When it's gone, it's gone. It's too late. And we have the opportunity right now to take a lot of actions. And one of them that's very important is to make sure that we contact Governor Evers. I did with some of my water protector friends. We dropped a banner at the Capitol telling him to reject Line 5. And of course, we haven't gotten a response. So I think we're going to have to go and do that again. So the other thing, you know, people that water is life has become like a hashtag, and it's not a hashtag. Water is life, and it's yours and yours and yours. And so it's time we all get in on this fight, because and we have to ask questions. There's so many questions that we need to ask, and among them is Enbridge is a foreign corporation. This is a Canadian corporation, and you see my button here. They lie and they lie and they lie and they lie. I went to an Enbridge open house, and my friend Buttons here is going to show all the propaganda that they had, just stacks and stacks and stacks of propaganda directed at all of us here in Wisconsin on why they're so great. Look at this safety. What, you know, I mean, they lie and they lie and they lie. And people need to understand that. They did I think it was 125,000 gallons of water, was it, in Fort Atkinson, somewhere there, left it unreported. I mean, when you look up their history, this is an awful, awful corporation. So we need to ask questions of Biden, of the governors, of all of your elected officials. Why are we allowing a foreign corporation to compromise, to destroy our land, our water, our air, which ultimately will be our food, because we need the Great Lakes and the Mississippi River and all these other rivers that they're going through to irrigate the crops on both sides. So when you're talking the Mississippi, for example, which also runs through Wisconsin, we're talking about that goes from the top of this country to the bottom and dumps into the Gulf. So all those crops on either side of that Mississippi, that's going through 10 states. Good luck. You know, water is not a good thing to irrigate the crops with. So there goes your food. And then when there goes your food, it's a domino effect. There goes us. And then it's going to be too late to ask questions. So you need to do that now. And the big questions I have, and you know, I haven't gotten an answer, and I keep hammering away at it, is why? Why are you allowing this? I need answers to what? Why won't you stop this? So we really have to press it, and we have to do it continually, because like I said, when it's gone, it's gone. And also with this, you know, with this war stuff going on, you know, we're going to hear a lot of the, you know, talk about, oh, how it's so necessary now and we need this. You know, I've heard people saying, oh, well, they shouldn't have stopped Keystone. I'm like, you know, you don't even know what you're talking about, number one. But you just have to understand it affects everyone, and it's not a renewable resource. And I just really encourage everybody to do everything you can as fast as you can. I know here in Wisconsin, if I had the 3 arrests that I had in Minnesota, in Wisconsin, I'd have 6 felony charges. Evers signed Wisconsin 2019 Act 33, which was written specifically for Enbridge. So if I had done those actions in Wisconsin, I'd be in jail a long, long time. I still have to go through my cases in the courts in Minnesota. But and now they're trying to do another bill through that's actually on Governor Evers' desk right now to pass another bill, SB 296, to call anyone protesting. They now call us rioters. And so I knew that was going to be a slippery slope. So we have to speak up now, people, and we have to do it loud, and we have to do it often. And I also am encouraging everyone when the actions start at line 5 to come and join us. You don't have to get arrested. Everybody's like, I don't want to be arrested. You don't have to be arrested. We also have a lot of fun in between the actions, and we need everybody. We need people, you know, of course, willing to get arrested, but then we need people to support those of us that are on the front lines. So I really encourage everybody to come, because it's life-changing. When you witness, it's gonna make me cry. When you witness what they're doing to the land and to the water, and when you live in a tent in a ditch and watch these trucks and these workers go by with all these pipelines, and then when you feel the earth tremble because they're shoving this through her 30-foot pipelines. I can't even explain. There's no way, you know, it's like when people say, oh, I was to the Grand Canyon, you try to explain what it is, you can't. Same with this, there is no telling you the devastation that you witness, and it's horrific. And again, that takes me back to ask questions. We don't need oil. We don't need this. We don't need this. Period. We have more than enough oil. We don't need this. We have to stop this. And so I just want to thank all of you for the opportunity to share with you. And I'm proud to both have been in this documentary. And I would take that same stand again with my sister Dawn right there. That was an honor to be there and locking eyes with her as this happened. I love you dearly, sister. And I would do it again, and I will. That's all I have to say.
Thank you so much, Jill. I'm sure everyone is clapping and in tears about right now. I'm going to unmute Cheryl.
Really want to thank everybody so much for your resilience and sticking with us and being here tonight and speaking and hearing and caring and taking action to stop line 5. And we together, hand in hand, can win. I want to give Gabe a chance to say final words. And Paul, if you are here and you would like to do any kind of closing words. Thank you all so much.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Thank you for coming. Thank you for staying with us. And yeah, thank you to all of the speakers. You all were amazing. And of course, I have to thank the people who helped me with this film. My director of photography, Sebastian Barbarone, and my post-audio producer, Mark Snyder, and of course, my lovely family. Y'all are amazing. And yeah, it's done. So what I want to do is send you all the link, which I just published to YouTube. And I'll put it here in the chat. And so there, you can now watch it without any distractions from horrible Zoom bombers. And yeah, miigwech.
I guess I just want to reiterate what I said earlier this evening, is that sometimes people look at some of us as the leaders of a lot of things, and yet when we're there listening to you, the people, we get a lot of inspiration. We have a lot of hope, and we're only taking some of your concerns and your feelings, your need for these freedoms, freedom to drink clean water and to breathe fresh air and those things to heart. And so all of my time is dedicated to you, and I appreciate everything that you do. There are a couple dates. Interesting, there's another Zoom going on as well that I just came out of. And so there are people planning events all over the country, and two of them coming up at this particular point are on Friday, April 22nd. And I did post in the chat that date, the International Enbridge Pipelines Earth Day Monitoring Action. Take a walk to observe a pipeline easement somewhere near you in the United States or Canada. There's hundreds of miles of pipelines on public sites. You don't have to trespass on private land in any way to observe pump stations and connections and tanks and so forth. Just get to know the lines, get to know it. A majority of pipeline issues are found by local citizens just simply walking in the woods, hunting, enjoying a view and those things. So take a sack lunch and get out there and take a walk, get to commune with nature a little bit. But Friday, April 22nd is going to be dedicated by many people to local actions, local organizations, getting out there and just taking a look at the line to see what they can find. And then the other date really quickly is Saturday, June 25th. Communities United by Water in Ashland, Wisconsin will be promoting and hosting at the Bayfront Park, another Protect the Water and Air activity action, not for sale, Save the Pinocchios, Embrace Lake Superior. We'll are all organizations that are getting involved with parts of that. It's an all-day event, probably from around 10 to 6, pretty early on, but people are making plans, speakers, ceremonies, vendors, food vendors, a lacrosse game, a community potluck feast, and those kinds of things. If you have a chance to get together with your local organizations, potluck them, have some food, show this video if you have a chance to do it. There's other videos out there. Host a home party in your living room and just talk about this issue of global warming, fossil fuels use, our dependency, and how it impacts things like the outbreak of World War III and gas prices that shot up, all basically on speculation when large corporations are making record-breaking profits during this period. So we got a lot to go up against, and Enbridge and their hackers don't bother me. Miigwech.
Thank you, Paul. I'm asking Cheryl to unmute.
Hi, everybody. For those who are still here, I am going to take these actions I haven't done myself yet. So people can ask questions. Gabe, if you can hang for a couple of minutes, if anyone has questions about film, we can do a little Q&A. And at the same time, I'm going to post the actions in the chat, the ones that really need to be done. There's one that needs to be done by Friday that I want to start with. So I think we're all still muted by default, but maybe if you raise a hand or put something in the chat, if you would like to share anything. And thanks again to everyone for being here.
I just want to commend you all for this night's presentation through all the hassle and everything that took place. You did a really good job. I'd really encourage you to think about how fast you might be able to turn this back around, even doing it a second time. If you invited everyone that was invited tonight to this event, who took in portions of it, I would think you could double or triple the crowd by inviting those people back, especially if you could control that muting, whatever happened with it. That was an interesting experience, but it tells you how worried somebody is by the discussion and everything that's going on. It's actually good attention. It's just unfortunate that it disrupted everything, but it's good attention. They're focused on us, and we know they do that kind of stuff. This is Enbridge people in the background somewhere having fun. So anyway, keep going, man. I've been bouncing in and out of different virtuals all over. I thought it was with the pandemic ending, all that virtual stuff would be over, but now it's like getting better. Keep using it. We're gonna do this, and we'll see you all around this summer. There's gonna be a lot of stuff going on in the Bay Area. Listen up to all those organizations that are doing things. They'll be planning them, and I think all of us on the outskirts can focus our attention on giving empowering the people of Chequamegon Bay area for what they can do best. And they've done a lot of environmental projects that have been halted over in that area. They know how to do it real well, and all we want to do is step in and support them in those local efforts. So miigwech, gigawabaman.
Thank you so much.
Hi, hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I just have a question. I'm trying to change my video settings, but I can't. Oh, there I am. Okay. I belong to a group of elderly women called Active Voices. And what we do each week is we follow legislation on all kinds of topics, many environmental ones, but it could run the whole gamut of legislation. We follow legislation, and then we create postcards that we encourage people to sign, and then we mail them to their representatives for them. It's supposed to be an easy way to get people to contact the representatives. The ladies, we meet every Tuesday, and we had decided that I would come to the meeting tonight, and that the actions that were presented here, that we would make that our message this week. Of course, all the actions won't fit on a postcard. So we also have an online document that we share with people every week, and I'm going to put all of the actions in there. I think I might just copy and paste that Google Doc that you shared with all the action items on it. The introduction of that is, to please join us for the meeting tonight. I'm wondering if you have a different take on an introduction that I could put to those actions that we'll share. And we have in the past made postcards for people to sign on both line 3 and line 5, and we will continue to do that work. But when I look at the shared Google Doc, there were just a couple of issues with it. One was the commenting was turned on, so you could see cursors from 15 different people and highlighted text from a lot of different people. I don't know if you saw your own document, your own Google Doc with the action items. So one suggestion I would have is to make it not possible for people to comment, and you won't have that in there. And then maybe update the introduction part of it. And then I can just share that whole document within our, what we do is we set out tables at the end of a church service, and then people come and they sign our postcards, and then we mail them for them. But this week we will be sharing that online document early because of the deadline of commenting. So I'm wondering if it's possible to update your document.
Yeah, that sounds wonderful. I'm just going to drop my email here and we can work on that together. Thank you so much.
Thank you for all your work.
It's it makes sense for folks who are not living in that particular area to comment. And I saw from the chat, I think, you know, you're in the area, and those are really powerful. Personal comments are important, but it's also important, as Paul has said, for them folks making these decisions to understand how people are watching and how many people care all over the country and around the world, that this is not happening in isolation, and water is water, air is air, climate is the climate, the treaties are the treaties, and people are people, and all of our relatives we need to look after. So, you know, we're all in this together, and everyone please try to get a few folks to go ahead and do these boring tasks that really make a huge difference. And thank you, S. I didn't get your name, S, for offering to share this further.
Yeah, my name's Sandy, and yeah, I live in the Twin Cities, and I'm actually Don Goodwin's distant cousin.
I thought I saw resemblance. Yeah. Great.
And
Well, thank you
yeah,
so much.
but we do, yeah, Active Voices. We're a very small group of ladies, but we're pretty passionate about helping people, you know, use their voices on all kinds of legislation. And we've always been committed for years now to do at least 2 environmental messages every month. And we do issues on children and women and all kinds of legislation. We just follow it. And then when we want our representatives to take a stand on legislation, we make a postcard and get people to sign those postcards and send them to their representatives for them. So
Thank you.
I think it's a little drop in the bucket, but it helps us feel like we're doing a little something anyway.
That's what we're all doing. We're all doing a drop here and a drop there makes the tidal wave that we're going to win. So it all matters. And thank you. Folks in the chat are asking a little information about your organization, if you have a Facebook page or contact info that you're comfortable sharing.
Oh, yeah, I'll put a link. Let me just get it. Okay. Let's see here.
Folks only are able to for this on line 5. The first one is the one I posted above of, you know, commenting on the draft environmental impact statement. If you can customize that letter, it's more impactful. And the deadline is still positive that it's the 18th, this Friday. And then the other one is for the 22nd, just a few days later, is a comment to the Army Corps about their idea of drilling under the White River with a massive custom ordered from Europe drill that's very expensive. And this is something that's never been done in the US. It's very dangerous and potentially explosive. It's a horrible idea. They need a real concrete reason to turn it down. So that deadline is the 22nd. There are other things that people can do, but those are the 2 big ones right now to stop line 5. Anybody else have questions or comments, anything they want to share? We still have 30 people here, which is phenomenal.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm new to all this and I wanted to share the film with my community people. And can you just clarify the stop line 3 versus stop line 5 is stop line 3, is it happening like it didn't get stopped? Can you tell?
I can answer that, or Gabe, would you like to answer that?
You'll know more than me, Cheryl, but I can I can take a swing at it. I don't know.
I'll give it a shot and you can fill in. So that's a great question. And we have a real wide range of people here from, I saw Sherry here who walked every step of every treaty walk, to people on the front lines, to folks who are new. So I'm sorry we didn't explain more, but line 3 did go through, and it is, we are monitoring it, and should be able to stop it eventually because of the number of frac outs and drill fluid that was spilled into the river, ancient artisan aquifers that were broken, permits were violated. So eventually through the courts, hopefully that will be turned off, but at the moment it's running. Line 5 is another Enbridge pipeline. It's very, very old and decrepit and should just be put out of service. But Enbridge is trying to patch it up in 2 different areas. One is in the Wisconsin area. The Bad River Band of Lake Superior Chippewa has evicted Enbridge from their lands. And so that was the map where they have this idea of just rerouting it around the boundary of the reservation, but it's still in the watershed, so that's no good. That's one problem they're having. The other is that part of line 5 runs under the Straits of Mackinac, and it's one incident away from being an utter disaster. So their solution to this is to build this never been done before oil pipe under the Straits of Mackinac, which is a high explosion risk for various reasons. So the effort you might have heard about it a long time to shut down line 5 in Michigan, the governor has asked them to turn it off. Enbridge has not turned it off. They're in defiance of the law there. And they're also trying to reroute it in the Wisconsin portion. So it's the same company with the same issues around water, manoomin, treaties, climate. And there's no need whatsoever for this. At this point, the need is to build renewable and safe energy like STAT. So it's a very similar, but it is actually a different line. It's all part of the midline system. Sorry, that was a long answer.
No, that was great. I just, I'm afraid for people who are just completely not familiar with this issue, if I can't remember if the film talks specifically, I think about line 3. I don't want people, I want people to understand that it's the same issue. It's the same risk. It's the same whole thing. It's not like we're done with, line 3 is happening, so don't pay attention to this issue. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same thing, right? All the same problems are with line 5.
What I say is that Enbridge is trying for a repeat performance at line 5.
Okay.
And the issues of horizontal HDD, what is it? Horizontal directional drilling, where they want to drill under the White River there. This is what all of these frac outs that we're dealing with now in Minnesota, where fracking fluid, or excuse me, drill fluids just spilled. We don't even know how much spilled into the rivers, and we have a lot of photos of the damage that's done. So yeah, you do have to bridge people. Look what just happened at line 3. They want to do it again at line 5, and we need to stop them.
Got it.
Do you think you could update that action item list on that Google Doc with an introduction for people who might not be familiar with line 3 or line 5 at all? They might not even be familiar with, the fact that line 3 is primarily Minnesota and line 5 is primarily Wisconsin and Michigan, and just really basic information to get people brought in.
There's a lot of resources that have already been done at stopline3.org. There's links to Line 5 actions, events, and tools there as well, including mapping. So what's been said here is correct. It's not just an issue of Line 5, because if Line 5 is decommissioned, they're probably going to want to build the Twin Line 66 from Superior down through Chicago or wherever that stuff goes. Okay, so the main line of Enbridge in recent tax filings has been proposed to be depreciated in 19 years. The life of the main line is guaranteed for a life of 20 years on the tax deduction stuff. So when you take 7 lines in Minnesota and a brand new line 3, and you average them into the pipeline life, there are pipelines that have negative lifeline years. In other words, Line 5 was built pre-EPA. It is deteriorating. It has integrity checks. It's had leaks. You can see all that data in historic information. And it's not just Line 5, it's the entire main line that's deteriorating. That's why they're having leaks. That's why they have integrity digs. This is a Model A that's been painted up again and again. It's an aging infrastructure, and they don't build pipelines in the United States because in Canada, you have to create a decommissioning fund. So if you build a pipeline in Canada, you have to have the funds put into escrow to take the pipe out. In the United States, you don't need that. Line 3 was the first time that ever happened. There was another comment about HDD, which is probably, we understand that there might be sections of wetlands on Line 5 that are also going to be HDD, because it seemed like I was reading reports that people were saying there were unidentified ways to get under the wetlands in these bodies of water. So HDD may be used several times more than what we're looking at on the preliminary EIS. And what we're seeing in Minnesota from thermal imaging and from drone sites is the leakage of these hydraulic chemicals up through the ground. Enbridge called them temporary because they were only going to be drilling for a little while, but they pumped these underground chambers with this drilling mud that filled every cavern in every soft spot and every artesian well that goes to the surface of the earth. And it didn't just come out in fracking there. We can't get the information on frac outs. So transparency in Wisconsin is important because we don't even know how many frac outs there are because we can't get the information. We know of what's been reported and seen, and that stuff is only beginning to seep out as underwater pressure from a spring runoff is pushing these chemicals back up to the earth. And that's what you're seeing in videos and so forth that Ron Turney took of these sites that not only had frac outs during the drilling experience, but are now only beginning to leach that stuff. And some of that can be seen on thermal imaging and by going on the pipeline and walking on it and looking for it, because you walk up to it and you say, what is that? That's really different. It's oozing right out of the ground. Hydraulic drilling mud and chemicals that Enbridge said were temporary. They don't look at the cumulative results, nor do they look at what the Enbridge, all the Enbridge engineers says, well, it's just a short little thing. We dig, we put Michigan objection. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on the legal end yet. Manoomin is still wide. Manoomin grows in 13 different states. Manoomin is manoomin. So protection of manoomin in Minnesota under treaty rights is protection for manoomin and wherever it grows. So it's not just Line 5 or Line 3, Line 61 or the mainframe. It's the fossil fuel industry and a deteriorating structure and a Model A that's been repainted. It's time to retire it.
I think my ask might have been misunderstood. Yeah, I've been, I and my group have been following the Line 3 issue. I've been up, I've been up to White Earth a couple of times as my ancestors are buried there. And so you don't have to convince me about the issue. What I'm asking is, there's a Google Doc that was shared with a list of action items, and it's broken down by state, like by Wisconsin and Michigan. Do you know what Google Doc I'm talking about, anybody? Yes. So that document, I would like to be able to share. And what I'm hoping is that the introduction part of it it doesn't get into, data. I'm not asking for that, or a great detail, but just this sort of overview to pull somebody in who has no knowledge. I mean, just, let's say somebody from, Saarbrücken, Germany came over and they didn't know anything about this issue. How would you bring them in to take those actions? And I'm not talking about a page, I'm talking about 3 sentences. How can you bring them in 3 sentences? Can we introduce something at the top of that document to get somebody to do those
Yeah,
items?
I think that's a good idea. Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
It's a good idea. Just make sure I have your email, but you can send it to me, yeah, privately if you want, just so we can stay in touch. Anyone else have anything they want to share? Any questions? Should we call it? Should we go night? Let's only come at 500 times. Can't see everybody, but. Going once. Anyone else want to share or ask a question before we say adieu? Okay, well, thank you again for putting me one more time. I guess you all have it though, because you're in here.
Joe and Laura want to speak.
Oh, good. Okay.
I just really wanted to thank you all so much for this. The movie, Gabe, fantastic. Everyone in it is terrific. And for everyone's work all over everywhere for this. And, just to highlight what Cheryl was saying about it doesn't matter where we are. There's only one of us here, and what happens anywhere on the planet happens to us all. And then, Gabe, I do have just one little question. I saw quickly in the credits, I saw something that said Confluence documentary. I live in Oregon, and we have a Confluence project here. And I just wanted to see that wasn't related to our Confluence project, was it?
I'm not sure. The director of that is Steve Glute. I don't know if this is the same documentary. That I know that he is going around different places, and I forget exactly what his documentary is, but I know he travels to many states, so it could be.
Well, and it might be different. Our Confluence project is places that are at the confluence of the Columbia River. And so I'm just thinking his is probably just the flowing together of all kinds of other different things. But I just thought I would check. Thank you so much. Thank everyone so much.
And thank you for coming.
And thank you so much for giving us the link so we can watch the movie again and again. Thank you.
For sure. Divest, you had a question?
Yes. We just wanted to say hi and thanks for the great movie. Sorry, getting some feedback. McGill students have decided to come out and camp and occupy the arts building. to ask the university to democratize and divest from fossil fuels. And anyway, it was terrible what happened earlier, and I just wanted to say, like, you guys are awesome, and we're here in solidarity, and we just want to let you guys know.
Thank you so much. Yes. Wow, that's awesome.
Hi.
You guys have tents and everything. That's great.
Hi, all. This is Bob Salty Dog from Vermont, and thank you for the fellowship and all tonight. And it just seems like we're the salmon swimming upstream, but you know, every little wave of the fin, I hope that we get closer to shutting down this climate emergency and crisis, and that we can all live like humans again. So thank you. Peace be with you. Much love.
Okay, thank you so much. If there's no one else, then we will cut it here.
Thank you. Thank you for all your work, everybody's work, and the film was beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yep. Thanks for all the support. Thank you everyone who came out. Y'all are awesome.